You know, like people Facetune their babies?
No, I didn't know if people Facetune their babies. I didn't even know you could Facetune a baby.
Any person who's ever shared their password with me, it ends in an exclamation mark.
Said with enthusiasm.
The soybean lobby made a law that you need to use vegetable oils in baby formula.
And so we read that like the ones in Europe don't have the vegetable canola or seed oils in them. But then we got two from Europe and it had it in there.
I think I'm being scammed by my dentist again.
At what point do you think you're the problem? Welcome back to another episode of Just Alex. I feel like that was flat. Welcome back to another episode of Just Alex. And I want to keep them both in there. And hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Harrison and I are 3 weeks as parents. I call it the best 3 weeks of my life. I'm very sleep deprived, but like I've never been so happy to be sleep deprived. Do you know the other time I've been sleep deprived in my life like this?
Would love to hear.
College. And it wasn't nearly like the same type of high functioning. This is like purposeful sleep deprived. That was like reckless.
Like last night when we were we were going through the night because we were out of town. We were doing an overnight trip with in Fredericksburg, and obviously we were dealing with Tate throughout the night, and every time she would get up for a feed, I just like remember being just like so proud of like you getting up and like handling her, and importantly like what was just like stuck out to me like such a sore thumb was how calm you were with her, like or are with her throughout the night. And it's like when it's like 3:15, 3:30 in the morning, and she's just like not going back to sleep or not latching, just like this tone of voice you talk to her in is like it's so special and soothing. And I'm just there being so useless as you navigate, but it's like it's a very proud moment.
So every time I get up to do a feed, every time I get back in bed and the lights go off, you do. I don't know if you know you're doing it, but you put your hand over on me and you say, "I'm just so proud of you." And it actually, I don't think you know what you're doing for me when you say you're proud of me. It's very helpful. But I do want to talk about something when it comes to feedings in the middle of the night and like. Some people said that their husband, baby daddy, whatever, got up with them every time they did a feeding. Okay,
Yeah.
right? And at first I thought, yeah, like if I have to be awake, you have to be awake. And then what I realized on night one was no, and for two reasons. Number one is I'm going to be more tired than you, okay? So whenever I like lose my mind or something, you're there being like way more calm because like you did get enough sleep. And then the second thing is when 7 o'clock hits, you always take Tate and like I get a 4-hour nap, which is like the best because you weren't exhausted. Like one of us has to be up throughout the middle of the night. It would be crazy if we both were. And I didn't realize that until I was in it.
Totally. And like I think I said this on last week's episode, which is just like identify like the spots where, or my strategy is like in identifying the spots where I'm needed. And like if you obviously you needed help throughout the night, like anything you need, I'm there to do. But like that, and it hasn't felt like that's been the case, but the morning trade-off, like it feels like that's been a great way for you to catch up on your sleep. So
yeah, you always like bring me my coffee and like you're really sweet around that whole thing. But it was funny because at first I was like, no, if I'm awake, like you'll be awake too. And now it's like I try to not wake you up. I'm like, that's a really bad method because why would we both be awake at the same time when then I can sleep during the day and you can go take her? Like It made all the sense in the world to me. There were so many things. I had a friend today text me about like night nurses and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just voice noted her for like 2.5 minutes. And I was like, okay, this is why I like it. This is where it's helpful. This is what I recommend. Think about it this way. And I thought, oh my gosh, how much I didn't know 4 weeks ago and how much I like have an opinion on things now because it really is baptism by fire.
And do you like how much do you think the learning curve is going to go up over the next like 3 to 4 weeks?
Well, I think it'll go up a lot over the whole first year because it's like she needs to be fed more now. How many did you just ask about over the next what?
So like the first 3 weeks, it feels like the learning curve has been absolutely massive,
Huge.
right? But and obviously like we still don't know anything, but it does feel like we're in a bit of a like routine now,
Yes.
right?
But I think we're in a routine and then she's gonna humble us and we're gonna be right out of that routine.
And so when do we think that happens?
I don't know. I don't know. That's what I don't know. Because right now I feel like we're taking it in stride as it comes.
Because like this past weekend, correct me if I'm wrong, but like was a normal weekend. Like if you look at what we did, right? Like Friday night, we did date night, Mexican to the Benson Boone concert.
Then we did the pumpkin patch, which the reason we went on Saturday morning, we got up and went to the pumpkin patch, which I don't think you and I were going to go walk around a pumpkin patch to this extent if we didn't have tape. Right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like as an activities focused person, like she opens up like just a whole new world of activities, which is very amazing.
Oh, we're like, we need to take her to the pumpkin patch. While we're at the pumpkin patch, we need to go over and visit the goats because she needs to go see the goats. So we were just there.
Big goat girl.
Big goat girl on the off chance she wants to like goats. So we went over and we pet the goats. And then we took her and looked at all the pumpkins. And then we did everything there because we just wanted to take her to do it. And what was the other thing I was just about to say? I can't remember. But yeah, we want her. Oh, and then we talk about all these things we want her to do. Like maybe she should play soccer. We're going to at least want her to try soccer. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp because you guys, it's fall. And during the fall, we all like to sit and talk about our feelings. But with therapy, there are ways that you can talk about your feelings to really untangle your emotions, which is my favorite use of therapy because sometimes you have something that's bothering you, but you're not able to pinpoint exactly what it is. And so talking through it with somebody, especially a licensed therapist, can make it all come to light for you, and then you're able to work through it. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. You guys know I've been a proponent of therapy since I've started podcasting, and I've used it long before then. So the best part about BetterHelp is it's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, which is the best because we're all busy. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/justalexpod today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/justalexpod. This show, once again, is sponsored by BetterHelp, and you guys enjoy untangling those feelings.
Yeah, I think that like the goal is like expose her to as many environments as possible so that way she can like dive into what like she's most naturally interested in. And, you know, whether that's soccer, you know, painting, volleyball, or whatever else, like
Piano.
I think the most important thing is that she's exposed to so many different
Things.
experiences. So that way she can dive in. Is that kind of what you were saying, or did I like pivot that?
No, that's exactly what I was saying. Just we were talking in the car about things we're going to expose her to because now when we drive around, we always go places as a family, but one of us sits in the back with her. And so I laugh about these conversations because one of us is up in the front and then one of us is in the back, and it's like we're Ubering around and we're just having our little talks about all the things we want Tate to do.
So one dynamic that like has kind of weirded me out is like, why do people ask for photos of our baby? Like, why do people ask for pictures of babies?
Because they're cute. Now, I'll say this. I never asked for photos of babies up until 3 months ago because I just like never really cared. But now I love seeing photos of babies. Like I've been going back and looking at all my friends' photos of their kids, and I'm just like, how adorable. Why, do you think it's weird?
I think it's like I've noted, like thinking like back to like a lot of the congratulations texts, like send a picture.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, yo, she just got here. Like, And I understand you're putting our entire life on the internet, but like, I don't
I'm
know.
not putting.
I've never asked for a photo of a baby. I
Well,
don't think I'll ever ask for a photo of a baby.
but
You're
now,
judging, like what? You judging judging the cuteness of the kid?
no, they just
What's
want
going on
to.
here?
They just want to see the cuteness of the kid. I think. I don't think anyone's judging the cuteness of a kid.
But then, like, I guess I've
Do you think it's creepy that they ask? I don't
well,
get it.
I don't know. Like I have a story that I have a crazy story that I haven't I don't know if I told before, but like like a friend of ours had a kid and they like shared a picture of the kid in a group chat.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of our friends in the group chat like went to send it to someone else. And I guess like when they went to send it, the info of the picture came up and it said like edited in Facetune.
Oh.
And so like our friend, and the kid, naturally very good looking kid, but they still were like editing the kid. So I don't know. Like people Facetune their babies?
No, I didn't know if people Facetune their babies. I didn't even know you could Facetune a baby. Um,
Would you ever Facetune Tater?
Never that because, and I'm like every mom on the planet who thinks their child's just adorable, but I would never Facetune her because I think that sets like a weird precedent, kind of like early on, that like you need to be changed, which is not at all what I think. Um, I just don't get why you would Facetune them. I don't get what you would do. Smooth their skin out? Like, I don't understand.
Beats me.
That's too bad. I don't think a lot of people know, though, because here's the thing about Facetune. When you save down a photo on Facetune, it does retitle it as like Facetune XYZ.
Well, hopefully there's not a phenomenon of people Facetuning their children.
But maybe there is and we don't know it.
Yeah. Maybe this will uncover it.
Huh. Oh, it just makes me look at her and I think that's really sad. So Harrison and I did have to make a rule because we've been going dinners with people. And we had to make a rule to not talk about the kids so much. Because didn't you decide that people just weren't interested?
Okay, so I think I had a take a few episodes ago, which is like no one cares about your dog.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think anyone actually also really cares about your child. Like they don't want you don't want to go for dinner with you and like they don't want to hear about like us talk about like how she grabs your necklace when she feeds. Like I don't think people want to know that.
She grabs my necklace every time she feeds, and I think that it's the cutest thing on the planet. We
And
got
so
to
do
get
I.
her one of these.
And so do I. But like the people we're having dinner with, like I love Taters, the noises she makes.
Right.
I think they're the most special noises in the world.
And they are.
I don't think the people at dinner care.
So, okay. So I don't think the people at dinner care at all about like, oh, she can last 2.5 minutes on tummy time. Not at all. I do think they care like, okay, wait, how many do you guys have a nanny or are you going to preschool? Daycare. Like I
Totally.
do think that kind of conversation people care about if they have kids themselves. Otherwise, I don't think they care one bit.
And I think they care about funny stories. Like I
Yes.
love good kids stories, but like don't care about your kid crawling.
Totally. Like I don't think you need to be telling us with
About
any
their
of their
poops.
resume. Yeah. Correct. I agree with that.
I caught myself today. I was talking about her poop to Alex and he's like, I don't care. And he's like, call me when this is done.
Is that when you called me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you called me.
I do have a minor update.
Okay, what's your update?
I think I'm being scammed by my dentist again.
At what point do you think you're the problem?
We will let the internet decide. But when I went to my new dentist, like I gave them all the insurance information and they signed up. They're like, all right, let's get in here. I hadn't been to the dentist in a hot minute. They're like, let's do a deep clean. I asked them the price. They told us, it's this and the rest is covered by insurance. And then they came back and they hit me with a $962 bill for a deep clean because they said my insurance won't cover it because it only covers one every 24 months. So I'm stuck with like $1,000 added bill for something that they asked me to do and misquoted.
So now what happens? Because that sounds like we're boiling down to a he said, she said. Like, was it just you talking to the receptionist, or do we have a paper trail?
We're like in the thick of these email communications, so we'll see how it shakes out. But these, yeah, a lot of money at the dentist.
Yeah, no.
Have you got the hospital bill yet?
Let's talk about magnetic me, because now that I've got this newborn little baby at home, one thing I've been doing is changing a lot of diapers, but also a lot of outfits. And magnetic me is genius because what they did is they made magnetic closures that make dressing time super easy. So there's nothing worse than being in the middle of the night, fumbling with zippers. Magnetic me, literally, you just clasp one and then they all fall into place. And the outfits are so cute. I dress little Tate in magnetic me all the time. And guess what? Best part is I have some of the matching pajamas because the magnetic closure is so genius that I use it for breastfeeding too. So getting my baby dressed has never been easier with magnetic me. Trust me, you need to order these for your baby. And I had a lot of people gift me magnetic me because they used it for their baby. And they were like, this is the best thing ever. And so they were paying it forward by gifting it, which I'll be doing the same thing. That just shows you how good it is. So go to magneticme.com today. New customers will get 15% off their first order. Don't wait. That's magneticme.com. I feel like it's going to sound like I'm making this up, okay?
Okay.
But I'm not. Remember how during pregnancy my teeth, like my crown cracked and I went to the dentist here and I got it redone?
Yeah.
My insurance covered half of my crown, which was $2,000. So I had to pay $1,000. They paid the other $1,000. This week I got a bill for the other $1,000 of the crown because it said my insurance didn't actually cover it.
So like the same thing that happened to me.
Same exact thing. And I like want to find it because I can't remember if it was an email or a text message that happened, but I did have the same exact situation. And I just got the bill and I just thought, who messed that up? Like how are you just who's just sitting there now 2 months later being like, nope, that insurance didn't work. Send it.
Yeah, and especially like the cost of these things, clearly that's not the actual cost. Like it's the markup.
Well, the actual cost of my plastic crown that's now, I mean, it's an enamel crown, I assume, that's now in my mouth I guarantee you $40 max.
Yeah, the dentists, they have answers. There's questions, there's answers that they
questions that need answers.
Questions that need answered. Questions that need to be answered by the dentist. Yeah. Here's another one that I'm like starting my investigating to understand.
Okay.
Do you know who Callie Means is?
No. Kelly?
Callie.
No.
Calley Means. It's a guy. And either him and his wife or him and his sister are like big health activists. So I saw a clip of his the other day that talked about how the soybean lobby made a law that you need to use vegetable oils in baby formula.
What?
You know how like all the baby formula that we've been looking at, like the ingredient labels are like pretty crazy, and you know it's like canola oil, soybean oil, all this other stuff. Well, he's saying that that's all been coordinated by this soybean lobby, and like I looked and I couldn't find an exact law that mandated it, but like it feels like when you look at the nutritional labels of these formulas, like they're not nearly as clean as you would expect them to be. And like they are all regulated by the FDA. And I think there's only been like one or two new ones introduced in the past decade or whatever it is. So this is something that I want to look into. Obviously, like this is like at least the consumer packaged goods thing is like should be something I know about.
Well, you're really into the okay. So we were really into looking at the ingredients of the formulas
Yeah.
because sometimes like if we have to supplement, we want to understand like which ones we think are best. And so we read that like the ones in Europe don't have the vegetable canola or seed oils in them. But then we got two from Europe and it had it in there. And so I do think it's fascinating like why is that in there? Do we need that in there?
Well,
Additionally, like what
I
is
think it's in there for like some of the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, right? And I think it like mimics a lot of the nutrients you get like
from?
from breast milk, but there's a lot of other ways to get that,
Mhm.
to get those nutrients. And so yeah, I'm
We're curious. Yeah, because one thing we were talking about, we did like a CPR class last week. And one thing we were talking about is like when we start to introduce solid foods, like what kind of path are we going to take? So like we are interested in the food situation with the kid. But I want to go back to the bills that we receive
okay.
because you ask me if I got the hospital bill?
Yeah.
I don't have the hospital bill yet, but I did get a bill for the epidural.
Yeah.
And it like just texted me a link and it was like, your bill's now available. And I was like, okay. So I click it and it's like $8,000 for the anesthesiologist. But then it was like a slash through it and they're like, we're giving you a discount. So it's $5,500. And I was like, that's a very big bill for an epidural that didn't work.
Yeah. We believe that it was 65% effective. And so we're going to charge you for 65% of the cost to help supplement the $500,000 salary that we are paying this anesthesiologist.
Yeah, I'm like, oh wow. And granted that's pre-insurance. And so I did type in my insurance and so they are reviewing it. So we'll see what it actually costs. But I was just like, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
It feels like the people getting screwed in this are the nurses. It feels like these nurses are just like these nurses are so unappreciated. Like think about all the nurse involvement. Like how many hours were you with nurses throughout the pregnancy?
Well, I had a 26-hour labor and I was probably with them 25 hours and 45 minutes. Not even kidding.
Yeah. Like they navigated the entire thing.
It's just like funny because you hear the word nurse and you think, I mean, I don't know what you think. I just think of them coming in like taking your blood pressure, I guess, basically, at like a regular doctor's appointment. These nurses knew everything, did everything. Like they ran the whole entire show. And when I was pushing, like, and the head was coming out, like the nurses were the two that were down there and they were having me push and they were counting and they were pulling.
Hands were in there.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like you are incredible.
And I think nurses get paid like 20% of what anesthesiologist gets paid. And obviously like we're pro doctor people. Like we love doctors and they do a lot for the world. But like it feels like that pay discrepancy is like pretty shocking.
Very shocking.
Did you know that nurses get paid like 20% of what a lot of doctors do?
Let's talk about ZocDoc because one thing when you move to a new city or when you're adulting is you got to go to the doctor. And finding a doctor that's in network is not always the easiest thing to do, especially finding a doctor that's in network that's close to your house, close to your apartment, that doesn't have a 5-hour wait time, that the doctor will spend more than 5 minutes with you. All of that can be so difficult as an adult. And so here's the thing. Being an adult has its high points and it has its low points. But one thing that's a constant is you have to take care of your health and you have to take care of your body. So finding a doctor can finally be easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high quality in-network doctors, choose the one that's right for your needs, and instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skincare, and so much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 hours to 72 hours of booking. You can even do some same-day appointments, which I know none of us want to wait for the doctor, especially if it's something that's super important. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/justalex and find an instantly booked top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/justalex. ZocDoc.com/justalex. No, I didn't know that. I think I could guess what I thought a nurse made. Well, okay, there's what I thought a nurse made if you just told me that somebody was a nurse, and then there's what I would think a labor and delivery nurse made. Because one thing I thought was really cool is like how much autonomy these nurses have. Like they don't have a doctor over them telling, maybe they do, and I didn't see it, but it felt like they have complete ownership over the whole
Yeah,
process.
and I think it's the largest factor is like we've spent so little time in hospitals over the past decade that like we don't really know what was going on in them. But yeah.
Yeah, the nurses are incredible.
So, do you know something that I realized when we were watching football last night?
What?
So, um, you were having me sign into something,
Yeah.
and you gave me your password,
Mm-hmm.
and your password ended with an exclamation mark.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized is anyone who I know, and let me like word fumble this. Any person who's ever shared their password with me, it ends in an exclamation mark.
Said with enthusiasm.
What did we know? Like, were you like, is this a thing? Because like these
Wait.
stupid like requirements, like they need you to do a special character.
Right, so you always do the exclamation point.
And so everyone just like has done the exclamation point, and now that's become like a default. Like, think about all the people you know.
Mm-hmm. No, let me think about the amount of times that I've texted somebody my password and they thought I've been saying it to them like, hi, exclamation point. So they'll put in, let's say it's Rockwall1, exclamation point, and I'll text them Rockwall1, exclamation point, and they'll put in Rockwall1. And then they'll be like, that didn't work. And then I'll be like, you have to actually put in the exclamation point. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't know if that was just you telling me the password.
Oh, so then that maybe debunks my theory. My theory is that like 90% of people use the exclamation mark in their
No,
password.
they do. They do. And when you text the password, I used to have to preface like the exclamation point is part of it, is part of the password.
Yeah.
But that's how I know that all of mine had always had an exclamation point because I've always had to be like,
yeah. But now think about other people's passwords that you know, friends' password, like your family passwords.
all of them. Word 1, exclamation point.
Crazy.
No question.
Well, I mean, can we at least like bleep the digit that you were saying? Because that digit, I don't know how often that's used.
All the time. That is the most common.
No, you got to have more than one digit. That's crazy.
Sometimes I have 1, 2. I mean, that's not. You can hack most of my stuff with 1, 2, 3, 4, and if it's not that, it's 4, 3, 2, 1. Codes.
Okay, we have our family 4 digits.
Which is what?
Well, I'm not telling the fucking internet.
What is it?
You know.
Oh.
No, don't say it.
Well, I think I want to throw you a curveball.
Yeah, I love
Topics
curveballs.
because it's been something that's been on my mind a little bit and fascinating. Like a lot of things have been fascinating me the past 3 weeks, okay? Just really been kind of going through and loving it, like going through the motions and investigating. But the postpartum body.
Okay.
So we went out to Matt's El Rancho, which is this like Mexican restaurant here, and I was like walking back to the table, and this guy was like, "Oh my God, congratulations!" But I didn't have Tate with me, and I was like, "Thank you," because like because I still have my uterus, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to know your take on the bounce back. And I know this is like very hard for you to talk about, but I do think it's important because I'll say this, like the way that, well, I feel phenomenal. That's really all I cared about was like how I would feel after pregnancy. But one thing that I do find fascinating is like the uterus shrinking. Sometimes it's painful. But it's just like you still look pregnant.
Yeah. But what's the question?
Just like, what do you think about that?
I think one thing that like consistently said throughout, since your pregnancy journey started was just like how many things, we or I wasn't aware of. And like, I think the recovery process post pregnancy is way more extreme than I was aware of. And that's like, physically and what you've been dealing with, the stitches and hormonally. And, I think that the way you've handled it has been absolutely unbelievable. And, when you take a step back and you look at, what you just went through over the past 9 months, like it makes a lot of sense that it takes a long time to to recover. But I think you're doing amazing, and I think you look as beautiful as you ever have. And um and yeah.
Yeah, I think that one thing I wasn't sure about, and this has been a big trend, is like until I've gone through it, all I've been able to do is just like hear what people have to say about it. And everyone was like, "You'll just bounce back so fast." And there was two categories where I was wondering about the bounce back. One was mentally, because pregnancy wise, like I was depressed sometimes. I was anxious sometimes. Like I had all these, I didn't feel like myself. I was like foggy. And then there's also like the physical component of that where I laugh. Sometimes I'm like, I can only walk 15 minutes on the treadmill at 2.2. And I found that the mental side of things, almost the moment she came out, I actually feel like I bounced. Like it was the craziest thing, but like she came out, and you even said it too. But I feel like I just snapped mentally back to my old self. Do you agree?
Yeah,
Like that
I'm just
night,
thinking of the moment in the postpartum room where you were just like chit chatting away on your phone. I was like, holy shit, she's back.
and that was like 4 hours after.
Yeah,
So that part was crazy to me because
yeah.
everyone kept saying you'll snap back to your old self, and I kept being like, "What if I don't?"
Well, a lot of whoa. A lot of people don't. A
No, and
lot
a
of
lot of
people
people don't.
it takes a long time.
And there's
And
postpartum
we
depression.
weren't sure what that was going to look like for you.
No question. And we were prepared for like any different route. And we had had a lot of extensive conversations, Harrison and I both, on what that could look like. But I did have friends and family tell me like the minute my baby came out, I did snap back. And so I was hoping for that, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I think primarily so that was the case of the mental snapback. Physically, though, some people told me like their uterus shrunk in the first week. And I just found that, like, I do want to say, because I think the internet sometimes has these like skewed views. And I think people are quick to make a video and they're like, my postpartum body. And it's like, yeah, you have a six pack. That's awesome. Well, what I found is physically, the uterus and the stitches and the like my even ability to like walk very far right now has been a lot slower to bounce back, and I couldn't even care less because I'm so happy that I have like a healthy baby and like we've got our family, and like I just like simply filled with joy. But there is that component where I do look and I think, that is taking a while to bounce back. And when I put up a video online about it, I find a lot of people being like, thank you for normalizing the postpartum body. And that was just something that I had no idea really about, was how long it can take.
Yeah. I mean, makes a lot of sense.
And it's the most beautiful thing on the
Yeah.
planet.
And I'm very proud of how, you've handled, all of the changes coming out of pregnancy, and how you've, fought that physical pain, and um on the mental side, like how you dealt with it through pregnancy, which was a very different story. And I really hope you're not being hard on yourself, because like you're fucking crushing it.
Well, and I think what's important too is like for girls that might deal with this is like, because I asked you about it one day and I was like, what do you like think? And you were like, I just think like seeing you, I think you said seeing you as a mom, I find like the most beautiful thing on the planet. And so I think while sometimes you might like girls can get in their own head and be like, I'm not like bouncing back like my body. It's like, it's not even about that anymore.
No, it's literally about, as we started the episode talking through, like the way in which you communicate and nurture her at 4:22 in the morning, when she isn't doing, when she's crying or doing whatever else.
She's doing a lot right now.
I think she's just being cute.
Yeah. You always think she'd be so cute. I think, yeah, she needs one of those tubby rubs.
I'm gonna hold her. Them off.
Okay, Harrison's now gonna be off camera because he's holding Tater. She's hungry. Okay, so I feel like we can wrap it there. We ended kind of on a more serious note, but I think that we're good, right?
Yeah, I think that today was a fun little
You're just gonna have a blast.
catch up on the life.
Okay, we love you guys and thank you for listening. And I'm gonna go feed the baby. Okay, guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Just Alex, powered by Just Media House. If you enjoyed the show, which I think you did because you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. All of those things are so important. Stay connected on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Just Alex Pod. Post-production by Creative Evolution Studios. Theme song to the Just Alex Pod by Gideon Shawkin and Denisha. I'm Just Alex, you're just you. Let's keep doing this thing. New episodes every Thursday.